On 16th of February 2009, a 911 call was placed from a driveway in Stamford that remains, to this day, one of the most horrifying recordings in American history. The caller was Sandra Herold. The assailant was her 90-kilogram pet chimpanzee Travis, who had been raised since infancy as Sandra's surrogate son. In a flash of drug-fueled rage, the creature that once wore clothes and ate ice cream turned on Sandra's close friend, Charla Nash, with a level of violence that the human mind cannot comprehend. Before we look at the bizarre life that led to this moment, you need to understand the sheer gravity of the emergency. This is the real 911 recording. Listener discretion is heavily advised.
Stamford 911, where's your emergency?
This is Sandy. 231 Rockrimmon Road.
What's the problem?
Send the police. Send the police.
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend.
What's the problem with your friend?
Oh, please.
What's the problem with your friend? I need to know.
Send the police up with a gun. With guns, please. You shoot him.
What is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey's...
He ripped her face off.
He ripped her face off?
He's trying to attack me. Please,
Okay,
hurry.
I need you to calm down a little bit. They're on the way.
Please.
If the monkey moves away from your friend, let me know, okay? So we can try to help your friend.
No, I can't. She's dead. She's dead.
Why are you saying that she's dead?
She's dead. He ripped her apart.
He ripped what apart? Her face?
Everything. Please go faster. Please, Dirk. Please.
Is the monkey still by your friend, or can you get close to your friend?
He's eating her. Please. God, no, please.
Okay, I need you to calm down for me. I know it's hard, okay? I know it's hard. But they're going as fast as they can your way, okay?
Oh, my God, please.
The voice you just heard belonged to a woman who had spent 15 years trying to prove that nature could be tamed. Travis was born on 21st of October 1995 at a chimpanzee sanctuary in Missouri. 3 days later, he was purchased by Sandra and Jerome Herold for $50,000 and brought to their home in Stamford, Connecticut. The Herolds didn't treat Travis like an animal. To them, he was more like their child. He lived inside the house, travelled with the family, and became a familiar sight around town. He became something of a local celebrity. For years, their lives would run smoothly, albeit far from ordinary. But sadly, tragedy began to strike the family in 2000 when the Herold's only child was killed in a car accident. And only 4 years later, Jerome had lost his battle with cancer. With her family gone, Sandra poured everything into Travis. He became her entire world. She ran the family towing business alone, but Travis was always by her side. They ate every meal together, bathed together, and slept in the same bed every night. Neighbours described Travis as shockingly well-behaved and unusually social. He was capable of completing simple tasks around the house, including opening doors with keys, dress himself, water plants, and log into the family's computer to look at pictures. He'd feed hay to the Herolds' horses and even change the channel on the TV with the remote. Police in the town knew him and thought he was charming, viewing him more as a curiosity than a threat. A neighbour said that he used to play around and wrestle with him, adding that Travis was always careful and knew when to stop, always watching Sandra for cues. Travis appeared in television commercials for major brands, made talk show appearances, and was involved in various media projects. But the thing that people seemed to forget was that Travis wasn't a quirky neighbour. He was an adult, male chimpanzee, an animal with the strength of at least 5 grown men and wild instincts that could never be fully erased, even if he was raised by humans. Although Travis was widely seen as harmless, there were a small number of concerning incidents over the years. In October of 2003, Travis and Sandra were stopped at a red light when a pedestrian threw an open soda bottle at the car, hitting Travis. Enraged, Travis unbuckled his seatbelt, got out, and chased the person, but the individual was able to flee the scene. Police were called, and by the time they arrived, they were able to lure Travis into the car several times by offering him cookies and ice cream, some of his favourite treats. But each time he'd climb back into the car, he'd immediately open the door and get back out again before they could lock it. The ordeal would go on for 2 hours. It would only end once Travis became tired. He climbed back into the car and buckled his own seatbelt. No charges were laid to the heralds, and Travis spent the next day in his room, grounded. Nobody was injured, but the event led the Connecticut lawmakers to enact a law banning the ownership of primates weighing more than 23 kilograms and required owners of exotic pets to apply for permits. But this law was not enforced on Sandra. Authorities believed that Travis did not pose a public safety risk. He'd been with them for years. What could go wrong? As Travis got older, his behavior reportedly became more unpredictable, something consistent with adult chimpanzees reaching maturity. A fully matured adult chimpanzee becomes territorial, more aggressive, and even stronger. And Travis was no exception. He was getting harder to manage. Sandra relied heavily on her close friend and employee, Charla Nash. Charla had known Travis since he was young. She was comfortable around him and trusted him, but that trust would nearly cost her her life. On the afternoon of 16th of February 2009, while Sandra was talking to Charla over the phone, Travis had taken Sandra's car keys and bolted out of the house. He would run from car to car, clearly wanting to go for a ride. Sandra was in a panic. She was due to meet her friend shortly, and Travis wouldn't listen. This part is disputed, but Charla either volunteers to help, or Sandra asks Charla to help her with Travis. Regardless, Charla would arrive at Sandra's house at about 3:40 p.m, holding one of Travis's favourite toys, a Tickle Me Elmo doll, hoping that it would calm him down. But as soon as Travis laid his eyes on Charla, something snapped. He charged toward her on all fours, then rose up on 2 legs and viciously attacked her. Sandra attempted to intervene, striking Travis with a snow shovel, beating him over the head. But Travis didn't stop. He was screaming, a high-pitched, piercing screech, and he wouldn't let go of Charla. Hysterical, Sandra ran back into the house and grabbed the butcher's knife. By this point, Travis was standing over Charla, chewing, ripping, and tearing her apart. She was completely defenseless against the 90-kilogram frenzied chimp. Sandra plunged the knife into Travis's back, an action which he'd later describe as feeling like she just stabbed herself. But the knife did nothing. Travis didn't even flinch. Sandra pulled it out, then stabbed him again and again. Travis stopped for a second, stood up, and looked Sandra directly in the eyes, almost like a warning to stay away. She realized that there was nothing that she could physically do to stop Travis. She ran to her car and dialed emergency services, making one of the most harrowing 911 calls ever recorded. The first responders were dispatched immediately. The paramedics arrived first, but waited for police backup, terrified that they'll be attacked too. When the officers arrived, Travis briefly stopped and approached a police vehicle. He tried to open a locked passenger door and smashed a side view mirror. Then, he walked to the driver's side door and pulled it open. Fearing for his safety, Officer Frank Schiaffari shot him 4 times with his service pistol. Even critically wounded, Travis managed to stumble back inside the house. He would be found dead next to his cage shortly after. Charla's injuries were described by paramedics as, quote, horrendous. Within the following 72 hours, she underwent more than 7 hours of surgery on her face and hands by 4 surgical teams working to save her life. Travis had broken nearly all of the bones in her face, torn away her eyelids, her nose, jaw, lips, and most of her scalp. She was left completely blind. He'd also ripped or bitten off 9 of her fingers. Her injuries were so severe that the hospital offered counselling sessions to the staff who treated her. After stabilising her and reattaching her jaw, Charla was flown to Ohio for an experimental face transplant surgery. Investigators ran a toxicology report on Travis and discovered that he'd been given Xanax, a tranquilizer, on the day of the attack. In humans, Xanax can cause hallucinations and mania, and it was suspected that it may have done the same thing to Travis. Some reports suggested that Travis might have been confused by Charla's new hairstyle, that maybe he didn't recognize her. However, animal behavior experts emphasize that adult chimpanzees are naturally strong, territorial, and unpredictable, particularly when they're kept outside of natural social environments. Still, there is no single confirmed cause for the incident. Sandra faced intense public scrutiny and legal action following the attack. She passed away just over a year later from an aortic aneurysm. Charla Nash survived, but her life was forever changed, and Travis's attack sparked a conversation that continues to this day. Should wild animals ever be kept as pets?